Alright, looks like this is working. We are back at my place. Last time I was using this camera here to film the last video, but when I started it, it said to change the battery pack. I was like, what? Hasn't even been a day, how can my battery be drained? So I decided to just plug it into the charger right here, plug it in right there. So again, this is, like I said, I usually just sleep on the floor, which I did last night. Anyway, been rearranging things a little bit. So you can see I put my shelving thing here. There's a lot of paper to go through. Alright, now a lot of this is because, I guess I'll tell you some of the history about my life. So those things over, so that there, that's on top of the table. That paper cupboard thingy used to be right here last time in this office room. And earlier I couldn't find where my camera was. So I went around figuring out, but I had it in here apparently. So eventually found it. Now I can resume video. And was there something over here? Yeah, so there's actually a lot of papers and stuff that I have to reorganize and sort out. But in order to, and a lot of these boxes and stuff also contain papers as well. Oh, this one's empty, so I can probably, yeah. But this one feels a bit heavy. There's stuff in it. What's in here? Yeah, things that have to be organized and sorted out. There's definitely papers in this one. Okay, so anyway, the history behind why there was so much stuff was because around, oh, how long was it ago? Like around a decade and a half ago, maybe anyway, quite a while back in my life, when I was still in my teenage years. Oops. My mother eventually got divorced from my original previous stepfather, and then she remarried to another guy that they met in Las Vegas. He was apparently a doctor, but it turned out that he also was quite a pack rat. So as a result, after he passed away about 6 years ago due to renal failure while on hospice for cancer, we ended up being left with all of his stuff. So quite a few of these things here, office supplies and so forth, a lot of this is pretty much, well, I wouldn't say that it's inheriting any assets. It's more like inheriting a hell of a lot of liability. Because A, it takes up a lot of time to figure out where things is. It makes it time consuming to just find anything. You got lots of stuff. I mean, I just don't even know where to begin. Just, if you're going to live a life in an efficient manner, don't just keep buying and buying and buying and buying and buying everything that you see. It was so ridiculous that they actually literally created a whole entire warehouse near their house, actually connected to their house, in order to store all of the stuff that they had. We've spent years and years trying to get rid of a bunch of it, selling a bunch of it off, and we still haven't gotten rid of, there's still probably a little bit less than half of it still left to go. That's how much stuff that he bought. It was difficult for me to even go to the stores to find anything that was in the stores that we didn't already have. So anyway, there's a huge amount of papers that I gotta go through. Not all of these are mine. I gotta separate out these, figure out which of them, are my mom's papers, which of these are mine, which of these are important, which of these need to be tossed out. I threw away a bunch of stuff the other day. Like I said, I got a bunch of recycle bins here, because I do recycle, but it was getting to be where too much it was just getting overfilled. I mean, I still do recycle. Let's see, there's recycling over here. Yeah, so I got a bunch of, there's a bunch of raw materials that can be converted into useful products. It's just, for some reason, most people in society just don't really think about, resource management, living life efficiently. It's just very, very time consuming. And especially since I've had to move here, move there, when you move and you have this much stuff, it's going to be put into a whole bunch of boxes. You put it into a moving truck, and then you got to unpack it. You got to put it back out, figure out where everything goes. And that's one of the reasons why it takes me so much time in order to figure out, where I need to put everything and to create space for it. So, anyway, at least this will hopefully, this will help me organize a lot of these papers. I'll probably have to call somebody up and see if they can help me with organizing and sorting all of this, because I certainly cannot do this all by myself in only a single day. This is probably going to be worth, we're looking at probably if one person is doing all of this, and even got more papers in here too. So if one guy, and these, and whatever's in here, I'm sure there's a lot more here. So I'm estimating it's probably going to be at least a couple of weeks of full-time work just getting the papers sorted out, in a proper manner, and then separate the receipts from the bills and whatever. So, what was I? Anyway, it's kind of late at night. It's actually 2:30 in the morning. Last few days, I've actually not been going to sleep until around 6 a.m. in the morning, just because there's just too much stuff I want to try to get done. These are robot vacuum cleaners. Unfortunately, one of my adapters went missing because of all of the moving. So that's one of the things that I don't like about, not being able to just stay put in one place and, have things set out. Oh, that's right. Another reason I wanted to put this video together is because of my, I have issues with the fact that we have a society where we live in an absurd police state where it is almost impossible to do anything, without having a bunch of extortionists try to threaten a bunch of money out of you. So another thing that I've been doing in my life is studying a bunch of the law. One thing about the legal system is that it's actually what is done by most of those people wearing costumes out there. They call them uniforms. They refer to themselves as police officers, but they're not actually officers, because to be an officer you are elected into an office. If you don't have an office, then you're essentially operating under color of law, which is a fraud. And that's basically operating in one's own personal capacity. But the law system is such, it's been my observations and experiences that it's literally like learning a whole new other language. You're not going to become fluent at it if you're only learning a few things here and there. It actually, in order to start becoming, in order to begin to gain some confidence at dealing with the system, with the crooks that run the system, we're talking about a whole entire full year worth of studying, and that's full-time. A full-time whole entire year worth of studying. We're talking like law books. This here is actually a Black's Law dictionary that I ordered last year. Let's see, so this is actually Black's Law Dictionary 2nd edition. It's actually not as comprehensive and as as like the original publications. Now, there's a lot of people out there who will say that you want at least a 4th edition or earlier Black's Law's Dictionary, but this book is actually kind of new and too new, and I realized, when I looked inside of the publications, that's probably because this was, can you see it clearly? So this says Law Book Exchange 1995, 14th printing in 2010. So this is actually a more recent printing. It doesn't have, there was actually a law dictionary when I was, at this hospital not too long ago, in their library, where like print was a lot smaller. There was like a whole bunch more entries. It was a slightly bigger book, and it had a lot more Supreme Court references in it as well. But these are one of the things that you have to read, have to learn. You gotta, and it's not necessarily easy to find all this information. Now, you could go to a local law library, and find these books, but they're not going to let you check it out because, they're reference books, and so reference books have to essentially remain there. But that's where you can go to in order to find where a lot of this information is that a lot of people don't read. They do need to read it because, I don't know if any of you have looked at the, police corruption videos that are on YouTube and elsewhere and whatever, but there are numerous, in fact, even from the mainstream media, there's absolutely numerous instances and reports about, cops shot and mother. In fact, there's some on my website. But I haven't updated my website lately. I've been actually working on the Blue Creek Kennel website, and I'm still not done with that yet. But as I, even doing coding, that too is like another language. So it takes some practice in order to not get rusty at it, maintain your fluency, you become fluent. And so I just had to polish off a bunch of my rust. Grab my little kitty here. So, that's another thing. Just put the kitty down here for now. So this baking soda stuff. Okay, got a big huge bag of baking soda. I think I picked this up on the way in, it was either in Nebraska or Kansas. And what I do is I actually just kind of sprinkle it around my floors. That's what I've been doing. I already have baking soda, sprinkled around from before, but there we go. I hear that it's good for deodorizing, because sometimes my mother comes in here and complains, oh, you need to open your windows, get rid of the stale air. Well, how about I just deodorize whatever's causing the odor? So, that's part of that. After a long day of work, sometimes you just want to sit down, relax, and watch some anime. So that's why this is an anime that I've been following lately. It's called what's it called? Lustors Conflated with Wheatcrust. It's about a card game with some sinister paranormal stuff that goes on with a bunch of these card players. Started with, anyway. What else? So here's my eye mask. Usually I want to keep this kind of close to wherever I happen to be sleeping, so that way I don't have all that light in my eyes when I'm trying to go to sleep. Well, I guess that'll cover it for now. I don't want to take up too much time. I mean, unless everything that I mentioned is useful information, I've noticed that there are some people who have viewed my videos. Now, why in the world you would want to follow my personal life, I have no idea. But I guess some people are watching, so I'll just continue to do it anyway. And then hopefully we can, get more truth out, because there's a lot of, false information that is essentially being spewed out by the mainstream media. There is actually a good channel that I would recommend. It was originally called High Impact Flicks, but then eventually it got taken down. I guess Too Much Truth is kind of too much threatening for the profits of those crooks and criminals who own this corporation that everybody thinks is a country. So now it's under the High Impact Vlogs channel. He does have a website now, highimpactflix.com, and that's High Impact and Flix spelled F-L-I-X. But as he mentioned during one of his more recent videos, he doesn't have a lot of web page coding experience, and it's just kind of new to him. I actually sent an email like a couple of years ago, recommending it to him, because I've noticed that a lot of channels have been disappearing. So he may, and to several other people too, so that there would be backup of this information, because obviously there's some censorship going on for obviously political reasons. Anyway, I guess I better get back to doing some work. Maybe I'll just watch this anime, and then either get back to work or go to sleep and then resume my work. And then I'll get back to my kitchen at some point. So, as you can see, I got a lot of work to do. Anyway, that'll be all for now, and I hope you guys have a great day.